But lots of injuries tonight for both sides. Boca without Pablo Ledesma, Leandro Somoza and Santiago Silva. Fluminense are down 5. Jorginho, Fred, Edwin Valencia, Wellington Name and Deco. Flu reached the final. This once in their history in 2008, that famous highest scoring final ever in 2008 when they lost on penalties to Liga de Quito after a 5-5 aggregate draw. Colombian officials tonight led by Jose Buitrago. The assistants are Abraham Gonzalez and Wilmer Navarro, and the fourth official is Ima Machado. Well, a very good evening to you. If you're watching in the UK on Freeview on Premier Sports this evening, a special extra bonus for you in what should be a really intriguing tie. Rolando Schiavi, the last in the line for Boca Juniors. There is quite an illustrious guest at this game tonight. You'll see him very shortly, I'm sure. But I will give you a clue. He's already played one big game this week. Probably won't be playing another for another 3 or 4 months. Captains tonight, Rafael, Mora and Juan Roman Riquelme. Both benches are somewhat depleted due to the fact that so many big names are out for both tonight. But watch out for Thiago. Leandro Eusebio, who netted in the last 16 victory over Internacional in the home leg at the Engenao. Ima Machado's the fourth official, incidentally. Abraham Gonzalez and Wilmer Navarro are the assistants. Two sides who haven't been particularly flush with goals so far in the competition. They both came out of Group 4. Fluminense netting 7 goals in the 6 group games, Boca 9. But Boca did net 5, conceding 3 against Unión Española in the last 16. Fluminense a 0-0 draw against Internacional, won the second leg at home by 2-1, having fallen behind early on. Thiago Neves, so crucial in their run to the final in 2008, then departed for Europe and Hamburg and the Middle East before returning. Will he be a welcome talismanic figure for them? Their best run since they reached the final in 2008. And here they are in the quarter-finals against major opposition in the former Boca Juniors. Super tournament for Riquelme so far. He scored 3 goals and set up a lot more. Rafael Mora likewise has been key with 1 big goal against Arsenal de Sarandi in the final group game. They've met twice already in the group stage, but the serious stuff begins in the quarterfinals. This time we know it's for real. Boca Juniors against Fluminense for the 5th time in the history of the Libertadores. Later tonight we're across town at the Jose Almafatani Stadium as Vélez entertain Santos. That's in a couple of hours' time, and hopefully will be the second act in a wonderful double bill of action this evening. On by Christian Erbes. Boca started poorly. They drew on the road to Zamora. They lost at home here to Fluminense by 2-1. But since then, 6 straight victories. And in all competitions, they've lost just 1 game in 16. Fluminense last lost a game 9 matches ago to tonight's opposition at home. It was their first home loss since 1985. Controlled by Thiago Neves, who's just returned back to Fluminense after a spell in the Middle East with Al Hilal. Neves brought down. It'll be a free kick. Boca Juniors playing 4-3-1-2, we believe. Orion in goal. The back four of Roncaglia, Schiavi, Insaurralde and Clemente, three across midfield, Rivero, Erbes and Erviti, with Riquelme feeding Cvitanich and Mouche up front. Thiago Neves will take the free kick, and he's got quite a bit to aim for, but that won't test Orion, who's had a wonderful competition today. 7 games, has just conceded 6 goals. 4-2-2-2 for Fluminense this evening. Diego Cavalieri in goal. A back four of Bruno, Goom, Anderson and Carlinhos. In the centre, defensively, in midfield, Edinho and Jean. Wide in midfield of Wagner and Thiago Neves in attacking positions. Up front, Sobis and Rafael. But as stated in there, 8 games to date so far in the Libertadores. Fluminense have just netted 9 times. Boca finally came good against, well, what you might call the slightly lesser of the 3 Santiago lights in this season's competition, Unión Española, which is not meant to diminish the standing of Unión Española, based in the northern reaches of the Chilean capital. Did well to get to where they are and kept it alive, tie for the 180 minutes, but Boca were just far too strong. 6 times they've won this competition, with only Independiente winning more, 7 in total. Wide to Clemente Rodríguez. Aim towards Riquelme in the middle, back towards Rodríguez again, but couldn't make any advantage that time. Thiago Neves with a chance to bring it away. It's a really good break. It's a pull back on Anderson. Brought forward by Bruno. Recent signing from Figueirense. It's the big kick-off in Brazil in terms of the League Championship next weekend. Fluminense open up against Corinthians, which should be another corker. Well, it looked as if Boca were going to enter into one last weekend against Melhores, but it finished a 0-0 draw here. On the way to Racing Avellaneda at the weekend before the away tie back to the Engenhão, the Olympic Stadium, in 4 years' time. On by Juan Manuel Insaurralde, who netted in the 3-2 away victory against Unión Española. The away second leg of the Santa Laura last week, but it might not be the last time we see that ground used in the competition, because there's been a tradition of Chilean sides moving their semi-final home legs to that ground. It's tight and narrow, it's a 20,000 capacity, and it's what Unión de Chile did in the Sudamericana at the end of last year. Wide for Rodríguez again. Erbes gave it away. Decent little break by Rafael Sobis, twice a Libertadores winner with Internacional in past seasons. He's had a spell with Al Jazeera and is still on their books. Joined them from Inter back in 2008, was loaned back to them in time for the second triumph for that club 2 seasons ago. Edinho forward to Wagner. Chance for a hanging cross. It's a really good ball out. A decent little flick away by Facundo Roncaglia. Been busy collecting league titles. Distribution was strong. The decent curl from Wagner down the right-hand side. But Roncaglia, who's won 2 league titles at Boca with 1 in between for Estudiantes. El Torito got the flick away. That looked a push. Rafael Mora gets up to appeal with the Colombian referee and then finds the decision has gone against him. Perhaps for handball. Schiavi was coming in at the back, but Mora looked to have controlled it with his right hand. And two fine veteran managers in charge this evening. Abel Braga, you've just seen, a Libertadores winner with Inter in 2006. They went on to win the Club World Cup that year by beating Barcelona in the pre-Messi days. Well won back by Clemente Rodríguez. Really strong work by the left back in this tie. Sent down the middle, Mouche. Cvitanich. Couldn't quite find Pablo Mouche in the middle. Edinho got in the way. He too, a man who was much medalled during his Inter days. Roncaglia weighed it in. And Fluminense have the free kick. Rivero. Schiavi. Mouche did well to get the nod back. Support from Diego Rivero. Continued the run up. Riquelme would lose balance, and the clearance strong away by Anderson. Well, a lovely combination between Riquelme and Rivero. And it's going to be quite a battle tonight, I feel, between Rolando Schiavi, the 4 times capped Argentine international, and the Fluminense captain, Rafael Mora. Both clubs may have been quite stingy with the goal scoring throughout the competition so far, but they have spread the goals around well. Boca's 14 goals have been netted by 9 different players. Fluminense have had 7 different scorers of their 9 goals. Or Riquelme's free kick, and Insaurralde's made his way up. Schiavi there also. Usual jostling. Delivery was good, and he did manage to find a colleague. Insaurralde made his way up towards the far post. Schiavi up. But they couldn't combine for a finish this time. Bit of pressure on the goal of Diego Cavalieri, but happy to watch it fly past. Defensively, Fluminense have been excellent. Just 4 goals conceded in their 8 games. Cavalieri playing in all the ties today, and not conceding against Internacional in the last 16. Clipped away by Anderson, just nipped in at the near post. Abel Braga has been very active in the transfer market, and there's a lot of activity already in the Fluminense defence. Just sailed past Walter Erviti. Jean cleared it long. At the moment, it's only Thiago Neves who finds himself alone up front for Fluminense. It was well played by Clemente Rodríguez, and now the surge begins again. Had Bruno Vieira ghosting him very closely. Neither man required down this near side. Carlinhos. Jean. Come across after 6 seasons at Sao Paulo. It's a really good ball for Rafa Moura. Thiago Neves waiting in the middle, along with a number of other colleagues. Flip back, Wagner. Delivery was excellent. Jean on the near side. Narrowly missed. And Orion this time was beaten, but thankfully for him, the post was too. It was a very tight offside call and the flag stayed down. Sean had just pulled clear on this near side and managed to ghost in past Erviti, who stumbled. Yet to score in the Libertadores for his new club, but he almost did there. Lively start, stunning atmosphere. So far, it's actually everything we could have asked for. Riquelme. Long towards Clemente Rodríguez. It was a really good volleyed cross, which Cavalieri ultimately had very little difficulty with. Somewhat unsettled during his years outside Brazil, where he had a long spell at Palmeiras for 6 seasons. Liverpool and Cesena were his brief stopping points. Never played in the league for Liverpool. Very good cutout by Wagner, who saw the pass coming, but there's been a good speed, good swiftness so far from the Boca passing on both wings. But on by Bruno. Wide for Rafael Sobis, wonderfully in towards the middle. And all it needed was an extra stretch of Rafa Moura, and it would have been on target at least. On by Riquelme. Carlos Tevez is at this tie tonight, and you ought to be able to see him shortly, by the way, because we saw an awful lot of him prior to kick-off. Don't think he's holding any banners up tonight, though. Decent long try by Thiago Neves, and a dive by Orion, who's having such an excellent season yet again. Man who won the Goalkeeper of the Year award last year for 2011, the Ubaldo Feature Award. Neves really did his best to test him from that. Good swift first-time strike. A bounce just in front of Orion, the typical thing that goalkeepers hate. But the Argentine international reacted so well. Generally, there's been a high standard of goalkeeping in this year's competition, despite some high scores. Fluminense with the 2 best chances of the game so far. Diego Rivero down. Claims of a dive, but Jose Butrago has got a lot to sort out already. And it's the first yellow card of the game, and it's gone against Carlinhos. Just waded right in. No prisoners were going to be taken. But bookings of no bearing on suspensions in this competition, unless you happen to get 2 in a game. Riquelme taking his time as always. It's worth pointing out Fabian Cubero of Vélez has been booked 5 times in his 8 games so far. We'll worry about him later. Cross town. Riquelme's had a look. He's got 6 hanging around the area. One of them had to touch it. Cavalieri's kicked it off the line. Well, it was playground goalkeeping in the best possible way. Used his head and then his feet and flicked it away at the near post. Once Roncaglia got the flick on, and it's the best chance Boca have had so far. Riquelme's corner kick aimed towards Roncaglia again, but away this time by Bruno Vieira, the recent signing from Figueirense. One of 6 recent arrivals at the club. Some old faces, some new. But Abel Braga rebuilding. They've just claimed the Campeonato Carioca for the 31st time. But very much under the cosh here. Cavalieri's dropped it! Was there a push in the middle? Not that the Colombian referee has whistled up for it, but Cvitanich felt he should have. Roncaglia let it go. Match with a wonderful flow to it so far. On by Thiago Neves. Wide for Carlinhos. Thiago Neves in support. This is Rafael Sobis who tried it long, and it would need to be something stronger to make a fool out of Agustin Orion. Well, watch very carefully on the rebound. Cavalieri couldn't hold. There was a powerful effort by Roncaglia, and Cvitanich was shielded away, but I'm not sure it was anything stronger than that. Here's a lawyer, is our match referee, Jose Buitrago, and those skills in the day job may come in quite useful this evening. Riquelme, lovely little flick forward aimed towards Clemente Rodríguez, and the dig up in the air by Rafael Sobis was just about enough. If you've joined us late, Fluminense are down 5 this evening. Chiquinho, Fred, Valencia, Wellington Name and Deco are all out injured. And the way things are going, Facundo Roncaglia could end up in that queue very shortly. Boca have just 3 out. Ledesma, Somoza and Silva. But they have all netted in this campaign so far. Well, it's not cramp already, I'm sure. Erviti bundled over. Wagner was striding away before the whistle went, to the fury of the Fluminense bench and a rather discombobulated Abel Braga. Well, 0-0 at the weekend here against Vélez for Boca, and Roncaglia sent off in that game. 3 reds in the last 6 matches. Fluminense have generally kept their noses clean in recent games. Mouche, good cross, good header, just needed to be a bit lower from Cvitanich. Well, he netted against Fluminense the last time these sides met last month. And he was in the prime position to add to his collection here. Coasted right between the two men in the centre, Anderson, and it looked to be Wagner, but agonisingly, narrowly too high. Well, before this season, they met previously in the competition back in 2008, the year that Fluminense went all the way to the final, but were tripped up by Liga de Quito. Washington missed that final penalty. Never really settled in Hamburg, Thiago Neves. Quite a footballing town. There's a lot he'll tell you it's quite a party town too. Mouche. Roncaglia, it's a good long one too. Boca beginning to look ever so dangerous every time they sneak into the Fluminense final third. It will be a corner kick. Really good work by Paulo Mouche. 5 Argentine caps. 2 goals for his country. 2 goals in this season's Libertadores. And a man who Flu must very much keep their eyes on. Centre-backs moving up again, Insaurralde and Schiavi. Well in focus. Mouche has finally emerged among the cameramen, but probably doesn't have the angle he wants. All about getting close to the action. Beautiful in-swinger! Headed narrowly wide by Rolando Schiavi. Well, he's been a pass master with Boca before in 2003 and Estudiantes 3 years back with Veron. There was a shove on the way on Anderson. Cavalieri's hands were up, and it will be a free kick. It does feel as if we're inching closer to a breakthrough of the deadlock already. Bruno with the head. Riquelme winning in midfield and sending Clemente Rodríguez on his way down the left-hand side. On the double. Sean with the block. But good work between Clemente Rodríguez and Riquelme. Netted in both legs of the last 16 against Unión Española. Rodríguez making things work a lot down the left-hand side so far, and he's created this corner opportunity for Riquelme to swing in. Can be tight here, though. Guaranteed to be immensely close to the action of the Bombonera. Especially if you're hanging over the corner flag. Riquelme. Chance to cut inside and swing, and he does have quite a few targets to aim for in the middle. Couldn't find any of them. Away by Carlinhos. On by Roncaglia. Scuff away by Bruno. Was successful. Wagner with a chance to bring it on. Rafa Mora's in a lot of space over on the far side. It's aimed instead towards Carlinhos, who is back a bit. This is Edinho. Carlinhos. Rafael Moura waiting in the middle. Thiago Neves has made his way back. Jan had a go. And swung away the moment it left his boot. But Riquelme slipped inside. Turned Wagner wonderfully. Mouche, Riquelme. The move was promising, but the final touch saw it go all awry. No winners so far this week. 0-0 draw last night in the rain between Vasco and Corinthians. A bit more entertainment prior to that in Asunción between Libertad and Universidad de Chile. That was a 1-1 draw and a decent away goal for the side who won both league titles up for grabs in Chile last year and the Copa Sudamericana. Blue ball. Wagner absolutely flew through up on top of Thiago Rivero. Heavy pressure from the back. Nominally, it, by the way, would be the winners of Vasco and Corinthians to face the winners of Vélez and Santos, but the draw would be changed around if Fluminense were to win and Santos were to lose, because there'd be two Brazilian teams in the semi-finals and they would have to meet each other. We've had two all-Brazilian finals in the past decade. Martin Palermo among the big footballing names present this evening. So many great years he had in this competition. Naturally overhit for Clemente Rodríguez though. Christian Erbes overcooked. Latest in the assembly line, 22-year-old. Played in half the ties so far this season in the Libertadores and is getting quite a good bit of league access too. Boca currently second in the Argentine table, 2 points behind Newell's Old Boys, reigning champions in Argentina right now. Out by Gum. And Jean has helped it away. 30 goalless minutes, but it's been a lively tie. Which just denied that time by Bruno Vieira, but it's turning into a good battle between these two as well. 3 times a league winner. Never achieved it with Estudiantes. He was there for long enough, but as soon as he came here, he started winning trophies, which, depending on the era you're arriving in, tends to be the way. On by Rivero. Cvitanich just took a step back. Riquelme on this occasion just slightly out of sync. Second spell in charge for Abel Braga. Previously the Fluminense manager in 2005, left to join Internacional in 2006 and then won everything with them. Claimed their first Libertadores crown and then on they went to be champions of the world. Keep that title in Brazil as Sao Paulo had done it the year before, beating Liverpool. Good control by Rafael Sobis. If you're watching live in Africa or Australia, go nowhere. We've got Vélez against Santos live immediately after this. If you're watching in Ireland, it's on the main channel, that second game. And if you're watching in Britain, it will be delayed for you at 6:30 a.m. in the morning after the NHL overnight action. And if you're so inclined, you can keep watching at 8:30 and watch this game again. Well, that's a challenge from Clemente Rodríguez that without doubt Rafael Sobis doesn't want to see again or feel again. It's a yellow for Rodríguez. He waded right in. And it's a yellow apiece. Thiago Neves will take the free kick. Laser sights were good. Orion came and claimed at the second attempt. Neves not distracted by the laser pen being shot at him, which we almost seem to see in every game in the Libertadores these days. And another card. It's a second yellow. Carlinhos has been dispatched. It's a second yellow card in the space of 18. And does that change the course of the game? Juan Riquelme leading a conference already. Jose Butrago is unmoved. Carlinhos in the middle of disbelief. Booked after 15 minutes and after 33. Well, they received 2 red cards in their opening group game all the way back at the start of February. And Carlinhos will make the long walk. And it makes things awkward for Fluminense. They've lost their left back. They've Leandro Eusebio on the bench, who may be the man required here. He weighed in on Rivero. That was the first yellow. On a yellow card, then why do that? In plain sight of practically everybody, including Jose Butrago. Fluminense are down to 10. And whilst the missiles may be deflected away, the criticism won't be. It's made life very difficult for Fluminense on the road now. It might give Boca an opportunity to maybe go for the jugular here. Second leg next Wednesday night. It's at 22:30 GMT, 11:30 p.m. next Wednesday if you're watching in the UK and Ireland. But will it still be 0-0 in aggregate going into that return leg? Insaurralde, and there's movement down this near side from Rodríguez, but he wasn't picked out. Neves instead. Roncaglia. Good ball in towards the middle. They are keeping quite a few men up, Boca, but Fluminense have now pulled a lot of their midfielders back. Maybe it's permanent too. Roncaglia has done wonderfully. Past 3. Cavalieri is on red alert, but not required this time. Cvitanich couldn't get the connection. But There was a connection in the middle, but it was the wrong kind. Walter Erviti, one Argentine cap, called the magician, but he couldn't make magic work there. Braga's had to move things around since the dispatching of Carlinhos. Erbes has won it. How ruthless now can Boca afford to be in this quarter-final first leg? Rafael Sobis for Bruno Vieira. Working hard and keeping enough men back. Fluminense having to shore things up in defence, but holes are beginning to emerge. Riquelme got the touch on, and he is generally the man to make things happen, but not on this occasion. Riquelme. Paulo Mouche, the cross is good, and it wasn't dealt with properly by Anderson. Scrambled away. Wagner moved back. Rafael also notably now playing the other side of the halfway line. Circumstances have changed heavily. Cvitanich set up by Riquelme. Not really a 0-0 kind of game. Believe me, we've had enough of those recently. Pablo Mouche is inside. Good control. Cavalieri stood up well, and it was a strong save by the former Brazilian underage international. Mouche slipped inside. He took two out. Maybe problems adapting now that Carlinhos has gone from that area. On by Sobis. For the first time touched by Thiago. Neves was just a mite too clever for his colleagues. He was in the last Brazilian Olympic squad 4 years ago in Beijing that went all the way to the semi-finals and lost to Argentina. Brazil and Uruguay are representing South America in the Olympic Games in a couple of months' time. If you are watching in Britain, it would be worth your while picking up a ticket, because there ought to be some healthy squads. Mouche. Really strong ball inside, aim for Cvitanich, but it was another quality header away. Rafael Sobis upended, free kick for Fluminense. And they have 4 minutes to catch their breath. But the gap's emerging down that side now. It slipped in past Anderson, the centre-back. Bruno was on hand too, but not required thanks to the stop by Cavalieri. Rafa Mora has history in continental competition before. He was runner-up in the Sudamericana 2 years ago with Gols, and was top scorer. Some clubs may prove to be a one-hit wonder, others emerge and stick around for a few years. Riquelme, good try. Cavalieri with the dive and just about did enough. Forever has the eye for goal. Just about evaded the post. There was an important deflection off John. Cavalieri dived and might just have had it covered. Riquelme. This time Cavalieri has denied Schiavi with a wonderful stop. Yet to score in this season's competition, but normally weighs in with a strike or two each season. Schiavi denied one of his biggest goals. Cavalieri strong on his left, and he showed how. But Boca with all the chances since the red card. Mouche. Schiavi again, came so close a few moments ago. Well, rugby's a growing game in Argentina. But this was almost the perfect breakthrough for Schiavi. He met it so crisply, and Cavalieri's reactions were instant. Strong push away. Didn't need to get down too awkwardly, but it was a good stop. And Schiavi denied. Neves forced into the quick throw by the whistle from Butrago as we enter stoppage time. Things have got quieter up front for Rafa Mora the past 15 minutes or so. Boca aiming for a 14th appearance in the semi-finals, and only Peñarol with 20 and River Plate with 15 can claim better. Mora is well marked, maybe not well marked enough, and up the back post it was Anderson who wasn't picked up. Major complaints about handball, but it's the hand of Jose Butrago that's waving everything away. Roncaglia brought his arm out. It was on the follow-through, and it came off his arm. Well, it's a big claim, but the header was coming from behind him. Thiago Neves, easy pickings for Agustin Orion. No goals, but it's been lively. And the sending off has definitely brought a different complexion to the game. It's an unwelcome one for Fluminense. Jan, who's now having to do a lot more work down the left-hand side in the absence of Carlinhos. It's aimed long towards Rafael Mora, who's done very well to keep it in play. Taking on successfully Roncaglia, but couldn't find Thiago Neves in the middle. Probably in an offside position anyway. Well, here's the latest edition of You Are the Ref. Would you have given it? I think many might have, but this one didn't, and it means no goals at half-time. Some good opportunities set up by Riquelme, particularly late in the first half. A fine effort deflected out. Schiavi denied by a wonderful stop by Cavalieri just before the break. But the sending off of Carlinhos, the Fluminense left back, has made things very interesting heading into the second half. The Brazilian side have an awful lot to do. At the break, it's Boca Juniors 0, Fluminense 0.